What food or drink sucks even if most people won't admit it? Red delicious apples. They're red, sure, but they are not delicious. Edit. Seems like Fuji and Honeycrisp are favorites. Guess I'll have to find a Honeycrisp apple and give it a try sometime. Edit 2. Adding Pink Lady apples as well to the list and garners an envy. Edit 3. Till Reddit has very strong opinions about apples. They are so damn mealy and they taste like wet sand.
I feel like 50 years ago the name was probably true. But my god, it has all of the worst traits an apple can have.
Gluten-free bread. I actually have celiac disease and I eat gluten-free bread only a handful of times per year because it's so lousy. I was never a big bread person anyway, so it wasn't hard for me to give that up. Luckily there's pretty good substitutes for most other things. But gluten-free bread is not good. And if you eat it when you don't actually need to be gluten-free, you're nuts. Same. I have celiac and I would rather just go without bread than eat the GF stuff. However, there have been major improvements since my 2010 diagnosis.
Come. You should introduce yourself to the guy who commented my cock. Seems like you two would really hit it off.
What an insane reply. I love it.
Food so spicy you can't actually taste it.
Spice for the sake of spice, and no care for flavor is boots.
Fondant. Every wedding I've ever been to, they've paid hundreds for a shit fruit cake draped in 3 inches of shit fondant. I cannot believe it is still so popular.
Twizzlers. They look cool, but taste like plastic with cherry flavoring. Yuck.
Plastic with cherry flavoring. My kid was eating a Tootsie Roll and said, "I like this plastic, it tastes like chocolate."
I used to think, having learned what goes into it, that classic, soft serve ice cream was the most horrible food adjacent thing. I recently got an orange cream shake at Arby's. I don't know what goes in it, but I can tell you this. It doesn't melt, it just sort of separates and hardens into something resembling Play-Doh.
Wait, what's wrong with soft serve? I looked it up and couldn't find anything aggressions with its production.
They may be referring to the palm oil. The stuff is an environmental nightmare. For people saying artificial cherry flavor reminds them of cough syrup. It's interesting how this tilde is generational. Tilde changes by decade. My wife hates artificial cherry got this reason. And I don't. But I hate artificial orange, citrus for this reason and she doesn't. Edited. While are terrible lol. Edit 2. So I asked my wife to make sure in her perspective was she hated cherry and cherry was her 80s flavor, but she said grape was the 90s flavor and not orange like I thought as a 90s youth. This made me ask my mom and she said my stuff was orange flavored, but also I always got the prescription meds from the hospital because of my asthma. Not over the counter, which was grape. Mom was a nurse, so I'm going to believe it, but do your own research lol. People in the comments saying root beer in other countries is super interesting.
Turkish delight was not worth 3 human lives? Edit. I live in America, so maybe it tastes better in Europe, but I don't live there and I'm not about to make it by hand right now at least.
I once read that it made more sense due to the rationing that had gone on during the war. Sugar was in short supply. So anything sweet might have been much more appetizing than it normally would have been.
It was also magic, addictive Turkish delight. The fact that sugar was rationed means that there was no chance of Edmund refusing that first bite.
The healthy version of things. I don't mean actual healthy food, but the things that are all here is some ice cream with all the joy. soul, deliciousness, and sugar removed.
Yes, I would much rather only occasionally eat something as a treat than swap it for a healthier version that only just tastes enough like the original that people can convince themselves it's basically the same. Fat and salt and sugar are essential to so many flavors that cannot be replicated without them.
My problem is that the healthy versions aren't even healthy a lot of the time. Okay, this has less sugar, but one serving has 65% of the saturated fat I'm supposed to eat today.
Jack Daniels. It's obviously a popular whiskey, but it's honestly fucking awful. Edit. Even with Coke or any other mixer, I think is still a bit rough. It's the Budweiser of whiskeys. I don't hate on people who love it, though. You like what you like.
Agreed, I can't stand the you shouldn't like what I don't like mindset. Snobbishness aside, people have individual body chemistry, and we each taste in a unique manner.
While ain't playing right. It says, even if most people won't admit it, but then you are listing things that most people would agree is gross. SMH. But I have to throw this out there. Because even though I cannot believe someone thought this was a good idea, the entire bag disappeared at our lake house this year, so everyone else but me seemed to like them. The new Oreos with Pop Rocks in them. WTF. And I didn't know until it was in my mouth. Just thought they were red, white and blue for the Olympics. But normal flavored. I didn't expect fireworks in my mouth. And somehow it was worse that they weren't flavored. No. Just no. They need a much bigger warning label. Play-Doh.
I switched to crayons back in January. Ever since I've been broke as shit. Semper Fi. Anything with stevia in it. I was doing keto and tried doing the stevia sweetener for the occasional treat. Yeah, sure things tasted sweet, but then there's the soapy artificial taste that I have never been able to get used to. Bleh. Edit. Holy crap. I guess I hit a nerve. Thanks for the awards, I don't know what they do. For what it's worth, all artificial sweeteners taste awful to me, but stevia is the worst of them all. I get headaches and an itchy tongue from some of the others like erythritol. I suspect this is a genetic thing like cilantro. I can totally understand what you're saying, but I have no problem with stevia.
Maybe that's the issue. I have the cilantro soap gene and can taste the slightest trace of stevia in anything. And it's disgusting.
I think people are starting to figure this out, but red delicious apples. They are bitter, mealy textured garbage and the worst tasting apple.
Honey Crisp and never going back. Bro, try the Cosmic Crisp. It's like Honey Crisp on steroids.